You said what?
Should I go off the camera? Cause you off the camera.
You don't have to if you don't want to. For some reason, my camera in the YouTube thing is, I don't know, it's not working, but you can stay on camera if you want to.
I just was trying to figure out if it'd be weird if I'm on camera. I ain't on camera.
Or whatever makes you feel comfortable.
I personally don't mind either or, honestly, because in my head I'm on the phone with my friend. You feel me? Like if I it's up real bad. Um, I was about to start playing music, but you connected me, so I'm not gonna do it no more.
Okay.
Yes, I got this favorite song called like Eternity. What you got playing in your background?
Is this non-copyrighted R&B music from YouTube?
Oh, okay. That's a good idea. I haven't really I never been live on here before. And I got a pimple on my face. Get all them germs out.
Man,
Okay. My pajama shorts is showing and this is a snazzy little shirt. I like this shirt. It's all snazzy. I was gonna try to put the bra on with it, but it just didn't
it
look right.
look nice.
Okay, period. I went in the store and all all the people, if you know what I mean, the people.
Okay.
Um, are we free balling this? Or are we going off the list?
Um, we could go off the list.
Okay, let me take a picture of it on my iPad.
Okay. I just got my notes pulled up. Well, we got one person in here, but welcome to my podcast. It's called From Religion to Rehab. And today is episode we're gonna be talking about spirituality again. And we have another guest. Um so the first topic is going to be about our personal journeys, and we're just going to be sharing our individual stories about our experiences with religion and family and how it shaped our different perspectives on spirituality.
It is. Yeah. Okay, there go your good 13 people just popped in like that.
Okay, okay, we appreciate
They
the supporters.
as they should. That made me feel like I need to adjust my camera. Okay. Um, I'm a chitter chatter box, so I just you guide me, you lead me. This is your show.
Okay.
Yeah.
Um well, I guess I'll just start off first. My personal experience with religion is, well, I lived with my aunt and her husband, and they were pastors. So me and my sisters, we would go to church like always with them. Um, and we were Christian. Um, I feel like when I was younger, I didn't realize uh or really question how corrupt it was, or how hypocritical people can be in it. But as I got older, that's when I just started to think about certain things and just question things. Um, and that kind of led me to where I'm at now with it. I feel like a lot of people use it and they abuse Christianity or a lot of different religions. So that's another reason why I don't really care to be involved in it. But I feel like as far as like my family shaping the perspectives on spirituality, like my aunt had us in the church. But I feel like as far as spirituality, I found that on my own because I started meditating and seeing the benefits in my own personal life. and I don't let other people influence me or make me feel bad about leaving Christianity or the church.
I definitely agree with you on like that for sure. I feel like leaving Christianity is probably like the best thing that you could do for yourself because when you are able to leave that group of people, you can realize the box they have you in where they don't want you to grow because it makes them so insecure that you're growing and expanding your mind. I've even heard them try and say that like expanding your mind was evil, just like learning was evil. But then they praise you for being smart with things like in school, which don't even pertain to life sometimes. Like you go to school and get good grades and you're praised for that. But when you start learning about the real world and actually speaking about this stuff that's going on, nobody wants to hear that. They're stuck in their pain and trauma. So like I feel that they do not like when you start to grow. Um my personal like experience with religion, my family wasn't the most religious. I did have a grandmother who was super religious, and my mom did go to church like sometimes, and she would take me as well, and she would also try to like put herself into it. And I don't know, when I would see her put herself into it, I would wonder too, like, some days when she was trying to just basically give herself self care, she would get into it more. And I can feel that, like, I always felt as if, like, when I would look at religion, I would see it as something that you would go to when you were like needing helping and some healing, like in my mind, it shaped it was a community basically that would help you to heal. But um, seeing my grandmother, go into it really made me think differently. Like when she was taking me to her church, or even when my mom was taking me to church, I would go in there and I would see that like it was missing something. Like it wouldn't feel like comfortable. Basically, I wouldn't have that sense of peace. It felt like it was fake. It felt like people were like pretending and performing for each other, you know, like they just wanted to feel like they fit in basically. Um I ended up actually going to find religion on my own as a young adult, and I did end up attending a church on my own. My oldest cousin, she ended up suggesting me her church, her multicultural church, and I thought it was going to be better because they weren't like begging for money. But when I went into it, I soon realized that it's not just money that they're looking for. They're also just looking to feel in control. Like whatever God they're trying to make you believe in, it's not really there. It's like they really just want to feel that sense of control. They want to feel like you are listening basically to them. They want to feel like it's kind of narcissistic. Like I noticed there's a lot of legalism in the churches.
Hmm.
Yeah, no, and my cousin that even suggested the churches to me, she was a cousin that molested me. Like I had a really hard childhood where I went through a lot of like uh, so it's like I thought that would help me and I can't lie, going to church did help me, but it helped me in the sense of like seeing like, okay, we're all not doing good, let me see where I'm wrong basically. But once I was able to see where I was going wrong, immediately put myself up out of there because they were trying to put me into a box that I wouldn't fit in.
Mm.
Yeah, like
Wow.
yeah, so removing myself from that and just becoming like spiritual in general, that helped me to realize that God is not anybody in the sky. God is not anybody outside of me. God is somebody who's within. Like God is me. I am she.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I don't know
definitely.
about no he, but I'm she. Like yeah.
Okay, so the next part we're going to get into is defining spirituality. Um, what spirituality means to you outside of traditional religious frameworks.
Mhm.
I
Well,
feel like
okay.
I feel like for me it's connecting with my higher self and getting into nature and meditating, because that meditation is the most spiritual experience I ever had. So I feel like just practicing being a good person and trying to help others when you can. To me, that's really true spirituality. And knowing that you make mistakes and you're a human, but you don't have to talk to yourself in a negative light and call yourself a sinner either.
Yeah, I agree.
Because I feel like that's negative self talk.
It
But
so is.
um, if you wanna define yours, you can.
Well, I agree with what you said. Like, even the movie that just came out, that movie Sinners, it seemed like it was actually to make fun of that term. I feel like that term is so derogatory, like, just as in, like, a lot of words that we use are derogatory, like the B word, the B. It's so many words. Like, I feel like being, like, even I've been called a witch for just, like, doing stuff to help myself, like, as in just, like, placing boundaries or doing yoga or meditating, like, as in just being mindful. Like, that's like, I feel like spirituality, it gives you the space to be who you really are. It's advocating your spirit. Like, I
Right.
think that spirituality is something evil. It's just really just me being me and you being you. It's just us being who we are. Like, there's no need to, like, say that we're sinners. There's no need to say there's something wrong with us just because we've been through something. Like, I feel like every human makes a mistake. We all have hardships in our life, and I feel like there's no reason to shame anybody. Because who are you to shame somebody when you've did, like, 10 times worse and no one knows? I hate that for Christians that they do that. Like, why must you go and shame the other because of something they've done? Because when I see them do that, it means to me that you've had something happen to you similar and you feel shame and guilt. But your shame and guilt should not be a projection towards me. Instead, you should look at the reflection in the mirror. So spirituality and spiritual people, they give you the right to be who you are with no judgment. Like, and not to say that we're not watching, like, you know what I mean? We don't see good from the bad. It's more so like of saying, like, I see where you tripped. I see where you failed. Get yourself back up and we're gonna do this. Like, there's nobody coming to save you. Like, when it comes to spirituality, it's no one coming to save you. Okay, when it comes to Christianity, they think somebody's gonna come and they wait forever. Nobody's coming. You got to get up and do it yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. It's more of a accountability thing when it comes to spirituality because you actually have to look at yourself and see where you messed up instead of blaming it on an entity.
yeah. I
Um,
feel like that's a big part of, like, Christianity that needs to be tweaked. Like, I'm not saying that that group of people have to be just, like, slandered, but I'm saying, like, take accountability. Take some accountability for your actions. You know what I mean? Like, don't just keep blaming this on the devil, because the devil is not really someone outside of you either. God and the devil, those are not people outside of you. Those are terms. They're taking this too literal. There's nobody rising from the pits of hell to get you. The evilness in your mind coming from the trauma that you've been through. You have to break free of those chains that religion keeps you in, that box that religion has you in. Like, you have to get out of it. Like, you have to look up at the sky and realize there's no man up there. There's a galaxy of billions of stars and people and souls ready to be born onto the earth. The stuff that you're on the earth to do, you're here to, like, fulfill your bliss and your soul's purpose. So why are you worried about who's up there and who hasn't came down yet? Worry about you. Too worried about the other person for me. Like, I don't know.
um, okay, so now we're talking about healing from trauma, discussing the impact of religious trauma and the steps taken toward healing and self acceptance. Well, I feel like for me with the religious trauma, I didn't even realize that was a thing until this year when I started listening to other lives and people talking about how they left Christianity and they left the church, how much trauma they had from it. Um and I feel like a lot of when it comes to religion, people don't want to acknowledge the whole religious trauma. They like to downplay it and be like, "Oh, you're just church hurt and all this and that." So I feel like it is a serious thing that people do need to talk about and acknowledge, because I feel like people are just like, "Oh, that's not a legitimate reason to be leaving the church or religion and stuff." But I feel like for me, I've been in therapy and I've been accepted spirituality, and I don't really care if nobody has a problem with it or not, because it's my business and it doesn't really have anything to do with anybody else. If somebody asks me a question, I'm gonna answer it, but other than that, I'm not ashamed to say that, I just believe in God in a different way. I don't believe in praising an entity outside of myself.
Okay. That's how you started to accept, basically. You decided to praise yourself instead of someone outside of you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel that it takes away the power of yourself, like the recognition.
Hmm. Did you want to answer that question?
Yeah, I'm someone who likes to get into depth a lot. Like I'm a writer, I'm a poet, so like my answers we are like long and poetic. That's why I be like, okay, let me answer some more questions. I like to hear you talk because you be saying that real stuff. But um, for me, I feel like religious trauma is something I never knew about either. Like until this year, like you said, like I started to realize when I stepped up out of religion that they had traumatized me. Like, and I started to study more about my people, like my people, like, you feel me? So I started to realize that stuff it stems from slavery. I realized that I studied that Christianity and like most religions actually come from like slavery. They're trying to like basically give these slaves something to either fear. Basically, it's like fear mongering. It's something that the government does. That's why I said like the churches have a lot of legalism. That's something that I realize. It's a lot of fear mongering. They basically try to get you to say like, if you don't do this, if you don't do what society wants you to do, then you will go to hell. Like,
Hmm.
and I realized that, like, coming out of that traumatized me so bad. I was doing stuff and I was feeling so much shame. And instead of healing and stepping out of that pain, I was stepping more into it because I was scared that, you know, I couldn't seek the help that I wanted to seek because somebody would judge me and say that I was a sinner. You know, that really, like, that was something that played a big role on my heart. So when I stepped out, I started to realize, I got some help as well. And I was realizing like, it wasn't my fault that, I was taking the steps that I was taking. It was simply the life that I was coming from. And I also was able to take accountability, like, okay, I'm hurting right now. So there's no need for me to continue to keep hurting. Like there's no need to be the reason for my suffering anymore. Like I don't think that heaven and hell is places to go like with your body. Like people think that after they die, they go to hell, they go to heaven. But you got to understand that you start that on the planet. Like where you stand today, this is how you create heaven. This is how you create hell. You cannot have heaven and hell without creating it here. So we live in hell by creating. If you stay in your own suffering, that's hell. And if you decide to get up out of it, as in like leaving Christianity, that's heaven. And I know a lot of people that are happy that are in Christianity, but I'm someone who advocates for mental health. And I can tell you that most of the people that are Christians are still struggling deeply. Like they
Yeah.
look, they may put the happy face on like we all do, but at night they can't sleep sometimes just like us. Like they're no different from us. They go through pain as well. But the only difference is that we live in our truth and they don't. They lie. Um and that's what helped me started to like accept myself more and go more into spirituality, just to understand that like everybody goes through stuff. Like I actually had a revelation like maybe a year and a half ago that there was no need for me to hide anything because a lot of the pain that I was feeling others were feeling as well. I don't compare my pain to others because I know deep down like we've all lived different lives and we have different families, we have different soul purposes. So I was able to accept myself more, knowing that like my pain was not normal, that we all have the same type of trauma going on around the mass. And I choose not to be a part of the mass.
Okay. Um, Finding God within. Talk about the process of discovering a personal connection to spirituality without the constraints of organized religion.
It's definitely a process, all right. I can say that for sure.
Yeah, I feel like when I first left Christianity, I was depressed because I was just like, man, like this really, like this is not the truth. You know what I'm saying? We have been manipulated and lied to about a lot of stuff. Um, and I feel like personally, I stayed in it for so long because I feel like I was just trying to do the right thing. Um, because a lot of people look at it as like if you're in church, if you're going to church and you are a Christian, that you know you're a good person. And I found that outside of religion, you could be a good person. You don't necessarily need that to be a good person. And I have discipline without religion, and I created my own morals and standards for myself. So I feel like that's how I found the connection with spirituality outside of organized religion, because I have standards for myself, and I don't have to necessarily live up to these standards that this religion is setting, or this church or whatever you want to call it. And it made me feel more free. And I'm still able to hold myself accountable without necessarily going and praying. I just talk to myself and I address myself about issues, or I talk to my therapist.
Yeah. I can definitely bite off of that and say that they do make it seem as if you're not a good person, if you're not a religious person. And I just feel like that's so disgusting because I feel as if, why are we saying that like it's not okay to heal? Because if you listen to what it's saying, like in the Bible and what they're saying, it says that God is like close to, he mends the brokenhearted, right? So if I decide that I no longer want to be brokenhearted, that means I'm no longer a good person because I'm not a Christian. I'm sorry, but like, so I gotta stay brokenhearted and I gotta keep getting my heart broken by everybody else, basically, to stay a Christian. I don't understand it. Like, why I can't have boundaries and respect for myself? I can't believe in myself. I gotta believe in this white guy with long brown hair that's gonna come down and save me and turn water into wine. I'm the female that's turning water into wine. I'm he. I'm not he. I'm her. I'm sorry. I'm her. Okay. You know what I mean? And I feel like I hate that they just like disempower women. Like that's another thing that I just don't understand. How did they just disempower women like that? Like, okay, yeah, men. I just feel like that's it just goes back into the older days, like I said. Like a man, 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 man. Like, do you know women are the ones who create this crap? Like, I'm not saying that men are just like outside of that, but you ever heard of Mother Nature? You go back into nature and you feel peace. Okay, that's a part of my process. Like, you know what I mean? Like I feel like the most comforted I've ever felt outside of like any type of church was just going outside into Mother Nature. Like, that's where we come from. We were not built off of nothing. We didn't always live in these buildings with these bricks. This is something that man built, just as the Bible is something that man wrote. I hate that. Like, and part of my process is actually just like, you know, just kind of like getting off of that. Like I just want to basically disengage myself from that. Like I'm not saying anything's wrong with what they're saying, but some of it is kind of just like, it's more so for people who are lost. So I try not to disrespect anybody, that's going through anything and they feel like they need to cling to that religion, I try to just say, like, spiritual leaders. You got a spiritual leader, okay, cool.
Mhm.
I got people that I look up to and I admire, and spirituality helps me to admire and look up to people instead of like following. I don't have to follow a spiritual leader, like, because I have my peers. I can step outside of my body and know that, like, I don't have to like look up to nobody in the sky. I got somebody right here in front of me that's got through just as much as me. We done been through stuff and we still here pushing, you know. And people be asking me like, who do you look up to? Because you seem like you look up to nobody. I look up to my peers. Like, I applaud anybody and pat them on the back for getting through what they've gone through. And that's the part of spirituality. We don't just sit up here and say, your pain is like not pain because it's not my pain. And Jesus said that, da da da. Like, no, I'm applauding my peers for getting through it. Like, you got over this hurdle, and I can respect you for that because people still sit in the church nasty nosed, being nosy in your business, trying to see how far you done made it because they ain't made no progress. They just sitting up under the pastor trying to figure out the like scriptures and apply it to their life. You can't even apply that crap to your life because you're not even connected. Like, people are so disconnected, I swear. And that's something that just made me dive deeper into spirituality. There's no like there's no sword at your throat. There's nobody hedging a sword at your throat. Like, if anything, we're hedging the swords at their throat. Because why are you coming for us for not wanting to be in religion? You know, just because we don't want to be brokenhearted anymore. We don't want people to step all over us because we didn't been stepped over enough. That's how I personally
Right.
redefining faith.
Yeah.
Step into it.
um. Well, for me, the faith that I believe in myself, and I'm confident in myself, and I trust myself more than anybody or any outside entity or anything. Period. So I feel like when I tell myself I can do something, I accomplish it. When I write my goals down, it happens, and I've seen this work in my life. So I trust that over somebody telling me to go pray. Um, which I've never seen any type of results or benefits from. Um, I rather write my goals down and take the steps to accomplish my goals. So I feel like for me, that's what faith is, and just knowing that everything is gonna work out in the end, and just don't try not to stress about it, whatever it is, because at the end of the day, like, life is hard, but um, anything you want to do is possible. So that's what I would say.
Yeah. I feel like that's what I feel like too, because I feel like, when it comes to people have faith in the Lord, and when it comes to spirituality, you know that the Lord is yourself. Okay, I am the bishop who's driving my own ship. Okay, like, when people are having faith into this invisible man creature, they're not having faith into themselves, and then they wonder why they're depressed again after they've put all this drive into the Lord. They cannot understand that when they're praying, they're speaking to themselves. You're speaking these words into yourself. You're affirming yourself. Like, you're not speaking to anyone but you. God is within, you know, and even like, it's so crazy to me because their book that they're reading, it says that, like, they're not taking the book as it should be taken. Like, the book is telling you and you're still just not understanding. Like, and to me, that's an unhealed person's mind. When I have faith in me, because if I can't have faith into me, then who's going to make the decisions? Like you said, you write your to-do list and you trust yourself to get that stuff done, because no one's coming to get it done for you. Like, in reality, faith is just something you got to put into you. Okay, nobody gonna pour into your cup like you know. And these people don't understand that they're doing that already, but they're not putting it to their brain good enough. Like they're not understanding where they are messing up. Like they keep running back to the church and the pastors wondering where they're going wrong. You're not having faith in yourself. Like you got to understand they're not teaching these people that God is within. Like God is not no man up in the sky. God is within you. Like there's nobody. And that's like I feel for people all the time. They say they got all this faith in the world. You ain't got enough. You ain't got enough. If you had enough faith, then you would know that God is not coming to help you. You are. You got to get up. And that's why you done been through years of pain and still going into this day. Like people turn 50, 45, and still be in the same trauma they was in like when they was 17. Because you
Mhm.
still wait for somebody to come save you. You got faith in somebody that's not even there. You got to understand like who to have faith in. You know, my first step to having faith and resonating with faith is knowing that I am the creator. You know, I know that there's a higher power, but I know that I'm creating. Like when I look into the mirror, I know that I'm the one who's going to create my reality for me. I can be the only one that make these steps for me. If I want a relationship, if I want a business, if I want a home, a car, I'm gonna take those steps. There's no one coming to hand it to me. And if it do happen, lucky girl syndrome. I'm lucky because I have positivity radiating through my body. Like my frequency is set on the highest level. You know?
Yeah. So now we're talking about community versus isolation. Basically having the support of or a community in your spiritual journeys, whether you found support in alternative spiritual groups or choose solitude. I feel like for me, I just be meeting people that believe the same thing as me. So I guess that's my support. But I'm not really concerned about, I guess it's like a support group necessarily because I know what I believe is the truth, and I don't let people like try to tell me that, oh, I'm wrong for believing in what I believe in. But I feel like also on TikTok when I started going live, I found a community on there because a lot of people do come on my lives and they're like, dang, like I've been looking for a live like this and I can't really find it.
Mhm.
So I love just talking to other people about it because, I'm not the only one that thinks like this, that this makes sense too. So um I feel like even if you don't have a community, just um even if you're doing it by yourself, it's still okay to do. And I feel like with the isolation, like for me, that's important because I want to be able to listen to myself. I don't want to have too many influences. Even though it's good to talk to different people, but I need to be able to hear myself too. So
Yeah. I definitely feel like when it comes to spirituality though, isolation is something that's gonna come natural, um, especially when you're coming out of Christianity. You immediately isolate, you self isolate because you spent all of this time with these people who have just judged you to the like core, and sometimes it's important to tune those noises out so that you can hear spirit and spirit can speak to you and you can speak to yourself because you can't hear when you got everybody in your ear, like you said. Like I even have did social media detoxes to the core. Like I strictly like to use social media to for work or to spread awareness or to educate myself because a lot of the stuff on there is not something that you really want to put into your brain. Like that's why people are going insane the way they are now because they're thinking about whipping and hitting the nay or Christian and Cardi B and Mariah the Scientist. Like I'm not saying that I don't like Mariah the Scientist, but I don't need to be in her personal life. I feel like that's what people problem is. Like I said, they're too busy worried about their community. And it's nothing wrong to worry about your community, but they're not using their community the way they should. Like when I think of my community, I'm thinking of the people that can hear me. You know what I mean? Like my community is people that I find want that want to listen and that wants to communicate back, and we can just translate, and our frequencies automatically can intertwine with each other because we're vibrating on the same levels. I cannot vibrate on a level that most of the mass vibrates on. Like they're vibrating on low frequencies. You know, community is very important. I've actually joined like maybe some Facebook groups where they educate. Like it's a spiritual Facebook group where they just educate you. That's my favorite like type of communities where they're educating you and they don't make you feel like weird for asking questions or like, they're asking the same thing. They're going through the same thing as you, as in like, anything, they're experienced as in what you're experienced in. Finding the right community is everything, but isolation is everything. It's important to step away from the community when you're in need of that. It is. I definitely believe that.
Okay. Now we're talking about forgiveness and acceptance. The process of forgiving those who have hurt you and accepting your past while moving forward. I feel like I easily forgive people. I always did ever since I was younger, so it just come natural to me. But I feel like at the same time, you got to be careful with it because a lot of people will abuse it and
Hmm.
take advantage. So it's like I do believe in forgiveness, but at the same time, like I don't forget um what you did, especially if it was like very disrespectful and nasty.
Yeah, we talked about this the other day too. You was telling me about that podcast. Like, what did you say about that podcast? What did they say? Some crazy stuff. Like,
Oh, I think it was about the pastors, about the husband and the wife. And the wife, she was ironing her husband's clothes to get ready for he could get ready to go with the side chick. Because she said that God, no, this for real. Because she said that God told her to do that. That's what she was claiming.
no, your traumatic mind told you to submit and shut up and sit down. Like, if God told you to do that, then you should probably go get some therapy. Like, but I'm sorry not
Yeah.
to laugh at that because I don't like to laugh at people the mentally ill. But I was more so referring to you when you had said like the guy who said that like if he doesn't let you back in, if somebody steals from his home and he lets them back in, basically, you remember you said something like that, like
Oh,
yeah,
about the forgiveness stuff.
that scenario is insane.
Yeah. I feel like everybody does practice forgiveness differently, but I know for me, like once I forgive you, depending on what you did, I'm probably not gonna mess with you the same because I'm gonna look at you different.
I feel like forgiveness for me, it's like when I was young, I had to forgive a lot of people because I was getting hurt constantly, and my parents were letting me down, my peers were letting me down, my family members were letting me down because they were operating out of like pure trauma and pain. And I was so young and I was so aware, so I could tell like what was going on. Like I'm like, okay, I see that you're having a hard time, so you're hurting me because you're having a hard time. Because I know that hurt people. So when I try to forgive others and accept what they've done to me, I try to understand that like they didn't do that out of like, they didn't do that because, it was right to them. They did that because it was right to them. Like as in like something was wrong with them. Like that's the easiest way I forgive others, to know that like you're struggling so bad within that you attacked me. Because I feel like whoever is attacking you, they're at war with themselves. You can never ever attack somebody without being at war within. War starts in here. The real warfare is in your brain. So when you go out and hurt other people, what does that say about you? You know?
Yeah,
So
I
I just
always
I
say
like
that If you can't be one with yourself, you can't be one with other people.
That's real. These people ain't understanding. These people ain't forgiving. But it's kind of hard to forgive people when they when they doing outrageous things. My friend just lost her friend. She was hanging out with her friends. They were getting drunk. They ran this girl over while she was twerking in the middle of the street and dragged her body, put her in the ambulance, and freaking kept going. Didn't even stop and go to the hospital with her. After they dragged her body, they didn't killed her. They went to the strip club. It's hard to forgive things like that. It is. You got to really come up with something good in your heart for these people that do nasty things like this. You know, life ain't easy to forgive. Like, forgiving is something that you got to dig about your soul and your spirit. Because when you don't forgive other people, you hold hate in your heart. And when you hold hate in your heart, it makes you mean. Because hurt people hurt people. So if you can't forgive, you ultimately end up hurting the next, And
Yeah.
it's reason to forgive people. I don't want to be like you. Mm.
Uh, so now we're talking about mindfulness and meditation practices that have helped you reclaim your sense of self and connected. Thank you for the hearts. Connected with you, connected you with your inner spirituality. Mm. I feel like meditation,
Hmm.
music. I love it so much that I will just play it all around the house. Um, and I feel like when I first started meditating, it was hard, but when I started doing it in my everyday life, it just got easier and it helped me deal with a lot of different situations. It cleared my mind.
Hmm.
Um, but I feel like mindfulness is also just like how you treat yourself and just watching like who you be around and stuff like that, and trying to be in a positive mindset and not always in the negative, because you have to be mindful of a lot of things, and if you're not mindful of it, you could be in some bad situations. But I feel like mindfulness is like putting yourself first and not getting overwhelmed with everybody else's issues.
Yeah, I agree with that. I feel like when it comes to being mindful, you have to set intentions. Like, a lot of people don't have intentions set when they go into endeavor. When you're going into an endeavor or you're just waking up in the morning, you don't have any intention set for your day. You're not being mindful. Not very demure of you, if that's what the society likes to say. But um I feel like my easiest way when I first started meditating and being more mindful with my life and my body, I would agree. It was the music. I started to detox and not listen to sacrilege music, like music that, degraded women or degraded people, period. I realized that I was listening to the music that the mass was listening to. So that was affecting me internally. Like, I was making decisions that were not set intentionally for me. Like, I was just doing whatever I was feeding my brain. Like, you know what I mean? Like, if Sexy Red says twerk, I'm going to twerk. You know what I mean? But these days, I rather, do some yoga and release my energy through that. Like, yoga helps me to be super mindful, going on walks and people think that meditation is just like sitting there and just but no, it's really not. Meditation can be anything. Like, meditation can be listening to music and setting your brain on it. Like, I listen to this song and I can relate to it so good that I'm meditating on that song. Like, that song is helping me and letting me unpack what is going on within me, like in my brain. It resonates so good that I feel it like chills and bumps on my skin. Like, that's how meditating really feel. Meditating is to sit with your thoughts and know that you are one with one. Like, people don't understand that definition of oneness. You have to know oneness to know spirituality. Nothing is outside of you. Everything is within. Like if you can't have peace outside of the world, then you're not having peace within. If you're walking around, I'm angry and I'm grumpy, it's because you have to figure out what's wrong with yourself. Like you need to be more mindful. Sit down with yourself and meditate on some stuff. Like stop listening to all that sex and all of that shooting and gun violence stuff, because that stuff ain't doing nothing but feeling the fire. And it ain't nothing wrong with feeling the fire, but it's not feeling your fire correctly. And that's something I had to learn. Like, I want to feel my fire the way it needs to be fueled. I want to fight for my people. Okay. When I started to be more mindful and I started to meditate more, I started to realize what was upsetting me. The unjust of the world, like the officers not really giving us the justice we need, the court not give the government period just not giving us the justice that they're saying that they can give and that we're seeking. They don't even want to help us really, and that's something that helped me feel more peace within, to know that it's not nothing wrong with me for real. It's something wrong with this world. I can sit down with myself and be mindful, like, dang, what am I feeling today? I'm feeling anger because there's not enough justice in this world. You know what I mean? Like, and it's like people don't understand that anger and sadness, like, any most of these emotions are secondary. Okay, if you're angry or you're numb, secondary emotions. You need to figure out what's going on. Like most people aren't meditating; they're not being mindful of anything. Like, and that goes into the next topic: cultural influences. If we even wanted to get into it, you know, you can't really, like, if you're listening to somebody else, how can you know what's going on with you? Like, you know what I mean? Like, if you can't sit down in Mother Nature and be quiet with yourself, how do you know what's going on?
Yeah.
Stuck in these jobs, slaving away, like try for a check, living paycheck to paycheck. Who wants to live like that? Like they working us till we tired. We don't even have no purpose no more.
Um.
Part of being mindful and spiritual, knowing.
Uh. Okay, so next we're gonna talk about cultural influences. Examine how culture and society have influenced your understanding of spirituality, and how can you separate those influences from your beliefs. I feel like when you when you come out, like especially like black people, when they come out and they be like, oh, I don't believe in Christianity anymore, or I don't follow that religion, then that's when the family goes in an uproar and tries to convince this person that they're crazy and that they're demonic and stuff like that. And I feel like you just have to know that you're not what they're saying that you are. Because it's hard sometimes, because sometimes people want to please their family and they want to stay in it, not necessarily for them, but because their family is telling them this is the right thing to do. And I feel like sometimes that can be misleading. But I feel like for me, like I just have my own morals and standards, so I can separate my beliefs from what society is telling me how to live my life, or social media, or even America. And a lot of people can't do that. A lot of people feel like they have to follow what everybody else is doing, um, or stuff, like trends and stuff like that. But I feel like for me, like this is my real life, this is my personal experience, and it's not a joke. It's something I take very seriously. Um, because a lot of people claim that, oh, they this and that, but they really don't follow um anything of what they're claiming to be. So
Man,
I feel like it's really about what you want for yourself.
you ain't lying. That makes me think of this song where she said, people walk around screaming goat, but they just kids that haven't been properly raised. Like, do you know, like, these folks are thinking they the ish, and there's nothing wrong with thinking you that and you this, but when you really not, you really need to step into the mirror, go in your bathroom, walk in there, look in the mirror. Am I really here for what I need to be here for? Like, what am I really doing? Like, most people that I encounter, in a society, they're actually drowning themselves in liquor and weed and pills and addictions. Like these people are addicted to like being in pain and suffering. Like that's why I say I have to do social media detoxes or like detoxes from this the like world. I have to go into isolation periods because I start looking at people like, what are you on? We cannot be drinking the same water. Like maybe they're drinking like some contaminated fluey water and I'm drinking some island buoy water because we can't be drinking the same stuff. Okay? Not at all. Like like you said, when you start coming out about how you don't want to be in religion and you've been raised in Christianity, they do start to like shame you to the core. Like they try to make it seem as if you're the most demonic thing. They'll probably like put some olive oil, like, hey, you're evil. And then you just get to start burning your sage like, shh, you're evil. Calm down. Like, I'm sorry. But these folks, they be doing too much. Like, you mad because I don't want to like do what you doing no more. Like, and I feel like the character speaks for itself. If you have to shame somebody because they don't want to be in a box no more that you're in, you ain't ready to get out that box, and I can't judge you on that. You just gonna have to sit in that box until you realize. And it's funny because people go their whole life talking this crap. Like that's why, like I said, I don't really like to be with the mass. I like to confuse the mass. Like, I'd rather you call me evil and a witch and bruja, like, than to sit there with you in front on the social media with clothes on that got Versace, and I don't even got my soul right. Like, you don't even got your soul right, but you rocking the freshest clothes that just came out. I think you got bigger stuff to worry about. You should have put that money towards therapy instead. Because if you have to judge me about not wanting to be in Christianity no more, like, you need to go sign up to the nearest therapy. Like, I don't know if you need the link for the free counselors. You need to go apply for Medicaid and get free counseling. Like, why would you try and judge somebody for not wanting to be Christian anymore? Like, or that's the nastiest stuff ever. Like, I hate that Christians try to do that to people. They try to say that they're evil just because you believe in Allah. Like, that is insane to me, or Allah. But I don't even know, like, it's just too much, like the Muslim, it's just all of that is too much for me. Like, I'd rather just step out of none of that. Like, I had really took on ominism. I just said, you know what? I'ma be different. I'ma respect everybody because like I don't I don't feel the need to put nobody down for whatever they believe in. I applaud you for just believing and try to do better. But I also can't sit around and not hold you accountable for not being accountable. You know what I mean? Like, so it's kind of weird. Like, I just can't support Christians for real. Like, I'm not saying that I don't like somebody. No, I'm not saying that that stuff they're gonna be saying is not right. But like, what do you be like? Do you even hear that they be applying these scriptures to their life? Don't even be applying it correctly. Like, did you even sit there? You apply like you mad because I said I don't want to mess like I don't want to mess with Christianity no more. But you over here doing stuff that puts your people at risk, and that's why I don't want to mess with you no more because they don't understand the impact that shaming somebody has on a person. Like when you sit there and shame somebody because they don't want to do what you're doing, do you know how that's why I like spirituality because they just like spirituality, spiritual people. They just like everything. Like you know what I mean? Like if you whatever you saying, if you saying that I'm this because I don't want to do that, you feel me? Like I don't have to I don't have to sit down and shut up and I don't have to silence my voice like they did. Like you trying to treat me like I'm a slave, baby. This is 2025. We're not in slavery no more. Like I don't have to be quiet and listen to you. What you gonna whip me? Like I'm sorry, but nah, I ain't going. Mm, that's me personally.
Um. Okay. Advice for others. Share tips or advice for listeners who may be struggling with similar issues related to religious trauma. I feel like you should go to therapy because if you talk to another religious person about it, maybe some of them will understand, but majority of the time they're not going to really understand.
Rebuke that
And
devil. Rebuke the devil out of you. Rebuke it.
um I just think when it comes to religious trauma, you should be talking to somebody that is licensed. Now I really don't think you should talk to a pastor about it. Because all they're really gonna tell you to do is pray. And you actually might need some really serious help. Um I feel like for me when it comes to religious trauma, there's like talking to other people that have left that religion and just hearing their different experiences. Like I had a TikTok live, and this one lady, she came up and she was saying how when she started deconstructing and she didn't believe in Christianity and she left the church, her family tried to put her, that I think they did, like end up putting her in the psych ward because they were telling her that she was crazy and she was demonic because she left Christianity and she did not believe in it anymore. So I
I,
feel like you just got to be careful, and I would seek, professional help because some people they can take that stuff and try to run with it.
yeah. Um, I actually have been training for a job, and they've been training us about trauma, and I'm kind of like a baby therapist. So one thing I can say about our colored people, they don't believe in therapy because they think that it's something wrong with going to therapy. They are so afraid to admit to like the trauma and pain they've been through. They want to say they these head honchos and these goats, but you can't even get through your pain. You can never be a star without getting through your pain. That's why they get to the top and still be messed up. You see Offset and Cardi B, like I said, like what's going on? Like they embarrassing us. You get to the top and embarrass us. Like, where's your counselor? Like, where's your therapy? You getting all of these BBLs. Why don't you start working on loving yourself? You know what I mean? Like you said, my best advice to anybody is to go speak to somebody licensed. Like, it's nothing wrong with talking to somebody who understands what you're going through. There's nothing wrong with being diagnosed with anything, because when you're going to the doctor, a therapist, a counselor, anybody, they're helping you to understand what's going on with you so that you can have a better life. They're not making this stuff up. They're telling you directly what you need to work on. There's no excuses. This is not a praying matter. You can pray all you want, you can affirm, you feel me, but you need to understand what's going on. If you cannot go seek help, then you cannot grow. If you're not understand, you have to go through you have to grow through what you go through. You have to grow with this stuff. So if you sitting there in your pain and not getting no help, my advice to you is what Devasia said. Like, you need to really go seek help, because it's nothing wrong with getting help. I will say this as a black woman, that the best thing I've ever done was go get counseling, because that woman, she turned out to be like a mother to me, and she helped me get out of like Christianity. She helped me get out of my pain. And even she is a Christian herself, but that just goes to say like how much these people can help you. People that have that heart to go into that career, they really want to help you. They're not here to harm you. And if you run into somebody that's not good for you, that's okay, because sometimes you will not have the right person always. You have to find your people. Don't ever give up. Don't ever give up when it comes to finding your people. There's tons of support groups that can help you understand you. Join support groups. Look up whatever you're going through, because you're not alone. You do not have to go to the church, and you do not have to be casted away for what you're going through, and whatever mistakes you're making. You don't have to be casted away. There are people who will literally sit with you and tell you that you are going to be okay, because you know that this is going on. Like, people that will praise you just for knowing. Like, that's why I said I can respect anybody that goes to get help, or anybody that seeks help, anybody that joins the live, anybody that looks to hear what anybody has to say, any open minded person. I applaud you. Because these people that's closed minded, when I tell you, they ain't getting nowhere. The best advice I can give you is to go seek some real help. Educate yourself. And that's that. That's what we said.
Um. Okay, so the last um thing we'll be talking about is books and resources, recommended books, podcasts, or other resources that help you on your journey toward finding your spiritual self. I feel like I have a couple books. There's this one book. It's by Omarion. It's called "The Power of Choosing Joy,"
Okay.
and he has a lot of mantras in that book, and it's like a positive book. And he tells his story also. I also like Think Like a Monk by Jay Shetty. He's a podcaster. And then the Marathon Don't Stop is that's Nipsey Hustle offer I mean autobiography. And then the last one was The Four Agreements. That's a really good book. I would say as far as podcasts, I Never Knew TV. That's a really good channel. Honestly, anybody that's like getting into spirituality or like holistic, living, I tell them to watch I Never Knew TV. And I would say probably like Bobby Hemmett, Young Pharaoh, like the old Young Pharaoh. Um Sometimes I watch Dr. Sebi.
I've
Um
that be for sure.
so um but I Never Knew TV. It has a lot of different it's like spirituality, holistic. They interview a lot of different people on there. They talk about like health and eating, and they talk about African spirituality on there.
Okay. That's that. They gotta understand where these roots coming from, okay? Even if you wanna say Christianity, this ain't no Christianity. That's African roots. Okay? They praising like the Africans do. Stop trying to put this white stuff on here like
I'm trying to think. Uh that's honestly who I can really think of right now, but usually I just type in different stuff and different podcasts will come up.
okay.
Uh,
Well, as for books, any book, most books are audible books, like audio books. So even if you're not a like big reader, even anything that she named, just audio. But two of my favorite is What Happened to You. It features Oprah Winfrey, and it just discussed like basically instead of asking what's wrong with you, it asks what happened to you. You know what I mean? Because it's less indirect, it's less judgmental. You know what happened to you, what's going on, what happened to you that made you feel like this way. It helps you to uncover better. And another book I also love is The Body Keeps Score. A lot of people have a lot of inaction in their body, and they can't understand why their mind is going and going and going, but their body is set steady. They have a lot of energy and trauma stored in the body. And this book helps you to understand that. Like a lot of people don't understand their body, they don't listen to their gut or anything. As for like anything like podcast wise, I love Shimon Davis on YouTube, like Shimon Davis. Shimon Davis, he talks about real life stuff. He really like sets you straight. Basically, I love stuff that can just set you straight. We have another one as Tiara. Like a lot of people that are on YouTube, it's so many motivational videos on YouTube that you can search up. Even me and Devancia, like we will set you straight as well. Like, like people need to hear certain things that they're not hearing. And the church is not going to tell you what you need to hear. They're telling you what you want to hear, like, or they telling you nothing. They shaming you instead. Another person I like is Pearl, Liee, three E's. Pearl Lee is gonna set you straight. It's a lot of YouTubers that's gonna set you straight. If you looking at motivational stuff, it's gonna pop up for you. Just go ahead and seek the answer, and you shall find the truth. As long as you seeking and looking, the answer gonna find you. Always.
Yeah. And like any questions that you have about spirituality, you could just type it in really on YouTube, and videos, like different videos will pop up. But I did used to listen to Dr. Umar Johnson because I like some of the stuff he says. I don't listen to him anymore, but I'm not saying he still doesn't say things that are, that resonate and stuff.
Hmm.
Um, but I do like some of the stuff he says. And that's really like, oh, there was a Breakfast Club interview from, I think it was 2 years ago. It was on Marion, and
Okay.
he was talking about being unbothered and spirituality, and he was talking about breath work and mantras. But that specific interview, I watched it so many times, and I always get like a different perspective from it. So that one was a good one too. But
Yeah. I think that we got a lot of stuff across in our life today. Like, I feel like a lot of the stuff, a lot of the topics we discuss can go more into depth. Like, just because a lot of people, like, they don't be understanding what it is to be spiritual, really. They just think it's just like being atheist. Like, if you asked me what I thought being spiritual was before I stepped out of Christianity, I would have told you it was probably being atheist, believing in nothing, because that's what they told me. But now that I'm here, whatever they told me is in the garbage. I'm not even gonna lie to you. Like, it's not all in the garbage, but 9 out of 10, most of that stuff is in the garbage. Like, I feel like religion helped me to understand that I needed to wake up. It helped me wake the heck up. Religion helped me wake up. And it's crazy because it's not waking people up the way it should be. Like, people are refusing to wake up. Like, when they hear the stuff that we're saying, they're getting upset. And they're
yeah,
getting upset because it's waking them up. So it's like, when you wake your kids up for school, or when your mama used to wake you up for school, and you used to be like, I don't want to get up. I don't want to get up. That's how people are in Christianity right now. Like, I don't want to get up. And it's like, you ain't got no choice. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm gonna always tell you the truth. You're not getting no lies out of nobody that's spiritual. Spiritual people gonna tell you the truth. Even if they cheating on you, they gonna let you know, like, I want 3 wives. Like,
yeah, definitely.
they, yeah. I stand in my truth. We stand in our truth. We proud about it.
There's also this podcast called the Black Atheist Podcast. It's a pretty good podcast too. But I feel like also, even with these, podcasts and books, they do give you like a certain level of understanding,
Hmm.
but I still don't let them like overly influence my beliefs and
Nobody.
what I practice.
I feel like people don't understand that, like, you don't have to change how you feel, what you think, what you see. It's more so of like being open to different perspectives so that it can help you live more in your truth and what you feel and what you fear and what you believe. Like, when I listen to other people, I don't gotta take everything you say with the whole entire scoop of sugar. I can take a pinch of it and say, you know what, I'm gonna sprinkle this here because I believe that was some what you said was, I feel that. But I still also believe what I believe. And and I was just having a conversation with a guy. He asked me like, "So, do you believe in God?" And I told him straight up, "It depends on who you think it is. Like, what I mean, who do you think God is?" He said, "I don't think it's any white man. I think it's a black person." I said, "Well, I don't think there's nobody in the sky." He said, "Well, we will not know that until we go there." And I said, "Well, you're right. But until then, there's nobody in that dang sky besides more souls that are ready to be born. We're all galaxies and universes. Like, it's a whole world inside of you, and you're so busy focusing on the other planets that are up there. Like, it's a world within you. Focus on
Yeah.
your own universe."
Yeah, I feel like a lot of that's part of kind of like Christianity too, fixating on what's gonna happen when you
Hmm.
are not here anymore. And I just be telling people like I'm not worried about that. I'll deal with that when that time comes because if you're so fixated on that, then you're not really living your life and you're not enjoying life if you're just like every 5 seconds, oh my gosh,
I'm gonna be.
I gotta watch what I do because I might go to hell. Like that's just that's not healthy.
It's not. It's not. And people, they don't understand that that's very unhealthy to sit there and fear death like that every single day. Like, death is going to come and knock on your door regardless. And you supposed to focus on your life today and live it the best way you can. You supposed to worry about having bliss. Like, do what your soul purpose is. Do what your soul is telling you to do. Because once you get up out of here, you ain't got no more chances to do that again. Whatever particles that was inside of your body, they going into your next kin. Okay, not you. You're not finna come back here. You're going into your next kin. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't fixate on death. I don't even fear death. Like, I feel as if when death comes, it'll just come and I'm gonna let it. Like, there's no fighting nothing. Like, why would I wanna? I don't need to know when I'm gonna die. I don't need to know none of that. I don't need to know where I'm going because I know that I'm not going somewhere that's gonna burn me. Like, I'm going somewhere that I won't be able to like actually think anymore. Like, you know what I mean? If you don't have a body and a brain to think, then what do you think? Like, I don't know. That's my personal opinion. Like, let's focus on why we here, what's going on today. Because once you get up out of here, you ain't gonna have nobody no way. You ain't got you worried about too much. You need to worry about what you got going on right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's why when
Well,
I welcome. I'm not mad. Like, people die in unjust ways all the time, and we don't love it, but it happens. Sometimes it just happens.
yeah. That's why you gotta just live your life the way you want to as long as you're not harming nobody because none of us asked to be here and life is hard and you have to enjoy it because you just never know when you know it's your time. And I feel like if anything I just want people to be happy and not feeling like, oh, if I leave this religion I'm not going to be accepted. Don't worry about that. Just live your life how you want to live it. And a lot of people not living for themselves, they living for everybody else.
They in the cult. They're in the cult. Christianity is a cult. They're in a mental cult. Like, that's a cult. That's very like it's very witchy. That's a cult. I don't care what nobody say. Like, if y'all sitting around talking about going to hell and heaven and being sinners, it's giving cult. If you're drinking like the blood of who and you're ingesting the body of what to not go where? So you think that eating a cracker and drinking some grape juice is gonna help you to not go where? Like, that's something you already in hell if you gotta do it. I'm not gonna lie to you. If you gotta do all of that, you already in hell. No cap. Because why would you have to even do all of that to make yourself feel like you're in heaven and you're in bliss? I don't have to eat no graham crackers, baby. I'm about to eat dinner. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. They probably eat me up for saying all of this.
Um, yeah. I feel like hell is to me is like the trauma you go through and the hardship. I don't
Hmm.
necessarily believe that it's the actual place that when you're not here anymore, that's where you go. I feel like that's just a fear mongering tactic. But
Yeah,
well, what is do you want to
I feel like
say
for every we
anything?
went through our time and everything, we need to go ahead and say Ashe and get up out of here. Like, let these people.
Yeah.
That's what we didn't say because we didn't put a lot on their tummies tonight. Okay, they gonna
Uh,
look back live and be like, "They said what?" They gonna come at us with the pitchforks and the holy oil.
oh my gosh.
We gonna be on a cross like Jesus was.
Um, if you have any last words to say or anything, you could say it.
No more. I go no more. Like I can end us off with a poem if you would like. I don't know. Like,
Oh, I was just asking, did you have like, did you want to say like a closing statement or something?
well, I just want to say that be you. Be who you are. Don't be scared to be who you are. Don't be scared to broadcast your pain. Let them feel it. Light this world up with your pain, okay? I don't mean you need to drown in it. You light this world up. Let them feel it. Let them feel who you really are. And that's all I got to say.
Okay. Well, thank you for coming on to the podcast and everything. Hopefully, you could come back on another episode. And thank you guys for watching and the comments and the hearts and everything. This podcast will be up on my YouTube for the people who didn't get to watch it live. And if you want to hit me up on any of my social medias and stuff and come on to the podcast, I would love that. Everybody have a blessed night, and we will see you on the next episode of From Religion to Rehab.
Sending our love. Mwah.
All right.